time to heat up your frozen dinners, grab your TV tray, and settle in for another episode of the Plus Platoon, your podcast for all things Disney Plus, brought to you by Disney Plus fans. Watch along with us every week as we cover all the new, the old, the good, and the bad on Disney Plus. So put down that remote, don't touch that dial, and welcome your fabulous Plus Platoon host.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Plus Platoon. We're a Disney Plus fan podcast that gives honest, spoiler-filled reviews of movies and shows on Disney Plus. We look at new releases, coming attractions, and we'll even go back into the vault, view some of the classic Disney that's on the platform. Make sure you're subscribed and you will never miss a moment. I'm going to bring in my girl, Kate. Kate, how you doing this evening?
I'm so good, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
Perfect.
Next, we have got Pete. Pete, how's it going?
Hello. That's all I have to say. Hello.
And back from her long cruise-induced hiatus / COVID, we have Sam. Sam, good to see you again.
Oh, it's so good to be back. I missed you guys so much.
We missed you too.
I was not sad to miss you the first couple of times when I was on a cruise, but was extremely sad to miss you because of COVID last week. So anyway, It's lovely to be back with you all and lovely to be back with our audience.
And glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Amen.
That COVID thing, not fun, by the way. Just not fun.
Nope, had it in January.
100% COVID caught on the team. Right?
Oh yeah, are we all?
We've all had it now.
No, I'm the last.
My boyfriend currently has it.
I can't believe I survived 2 years before I got it.
Yep.
And we've got Steve says,
Hi,
hello,
Steve.
tuners.
Hey, Steve.
And Ed says, hey, tuners, you're on the bike trainer, so can't comment. Make great workout material. Someone's got to do the workout for us. So
I like it.
Well, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, share. That way you'll never miss a moment of us.
Truth.
But as we usually do, first thing we talk about is the Disney Plus news. Kate, what have we got this week?
Well, I need you to pull up Ed's comment real fast. This is, the wheels on my bike remind me of the moon. Ed and I are we're like this. We're tight. Okay. Anyway, Disney Plus news. Here we go. Star Wars Visions is reportedly getting a season 2, debuting sometime in October or November of 2022. The same anime studio that worked on season 1 will be back for season 2. So that's fun.
I enjoyed Visions. I really enjoyed Visions because it was something that was completely unattached to anything, which I liked.
I was going to say, I can't remember how we felt about Visions.
I did not like it. This was the one with anime. It was all different styles of anime. I didn't like it at all.
It was all right.
Yeah, Derek, what did we give it?
I gave it a 4. You gave it a 3. Pete gave it a 2.5. Sam gave it a 0.5. So
I told you I hated it.
Wow.
I think
I would say if you're ever curious about what we have given past shows, they are all up on our website at plusplatoon.com. You can go in and see what we've thought or any show we've ever reviewed.
Yeah,
so.
I think that might have been my lowest marks. But what if I gave pretty low also?
It is it is your lowest.
Yeah.
Woof. All right. Continuing on with another low. I believe I gave this one pretty low numbers. The Proud Family Louder and Prouder has been renewed for season 2.
Next.
I was going to say, I don't think any of us have anything adding to that.
I'll just say good for them. It's a kid's show. It's not really surprising that we didn't like it. It's definitely not. It's not a kid's show that's also geared to adults. It's really
it's no Gravity Falls.
Right.
Yeah. It's no Shrek. Oh, wait, that's not Disney. Never mind. Strike that from the record.
Yeah.
All right. And last but not least, there is going to be a new Simpsons short released on Friday, When Billy Met Lisa, features Billie Eilish looking for a place to practice her saxophone. And you know what? I am outspokenly not a huge Simpson fan, but this could be really funny. This could be good.
I agree. I like when celebrities come on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I haven't watched The Simpsons much in a really long time, but I think this could be a fun short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has potential anyway.
Yep.
So, as you have seen through our social media this week, we are jumping a little way back into the vault and viewing Enchanted. Now, how do you know if we love it? Okay, so no, and I'm saying that is really hard without having. How do you know if we love it?
Yes. How do you know?
And I am going to start with Kate on this one. What did you love about this? What was good?
Yeah, as a music person, I love the music from this movie. I will tell you, the gentleman who trained me on how to DJ weddings, because I have DJed some weddings before. The song that we will always end the night with is So Close, and the thing that we have, like, the bride and groom dance, and we ask everyone to exit the room so they can get ready to, like, have bubbles or whatever. So Close is such a beautiful song, but hold on, I want to double check on the questions. Okay. We talked a little bit about this, and Derek, you can stop me if this isn't the right time to talk about this, but I think I like this because it does have parody-like substance to it. It is so ridiculous that it works. I feel like if they had tried to take it any more serious, it wouldn't have worked. Ever since I very first saw this movie, in my opinion, the MVP of the movie is the little chipmunk mouse thing. The whole when he's like, "Apple, no thank you, it's good." I mean, I can remember reenacting
you do that really well. Okay.
Listen, I've had many years of practice because that part made me laugh, especially when it goes, "Ta-da!" Like that just and look at what I did for 10 years as a performer. Like that part will always make me laugh so hard I cry. The mix between animation and real life, it's such a good parody. If parody is what they were aiming for, they nailed it. I loved it. And James Marsden is just my heart and soul. So, yeah. And never mind. I'll hold that. Go ahead, Pete. It's all you.
Yeah, I agree with you on the music, though there's not a lot of it in it, but what's there is pretty good. Oh, I got a cat. Overall, I mean, I like it's got some parody in it, but it's also semi-traditional princess type story. So I like the twist that the movie was. I think it's the best parts of it are when they have the characters from the fairy tale world confused by the real world. I love that scene with James Marsden when he's in the hotel room and he's like, "Magic mirror, tell me where she is." He's watching TV, and any scene like that. The scene where Giselle is cleaning the house, and all the rats and the cockroaches come in, and then the daughter comes out and she's like, "Oh." That kind of stuff just I really get a kick out of. So there's some really funny stuff in this movie. I do love the costuming in the movie as well. I think they really did a beautiful job with it. And I like the acting in it. Amy Adams, I mean, this was before she was really famous and we all knew how good she was, but she's so good in this movie.
Yeah, this was really her breakout role.
Yeah, yeah, she's so good in this role, and she's since played much more serious roles. And I do think Patrick Dempsey and James Marsden are both really good in their roles as well. I do like the, again, over the topness, and then Wormtail. Peter Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew.
I can't think of him as anything else, but I thought his character was funny as well. So I did very much enjoy the humor in this movie. So what about you, Sam?
I have to agree with pretty much everything you and Kate said. The thing I love about this movie is that it is satire. It is a parody. It makes fun of itself, right? If it was serious, it would be horrible, right? This movie is good because of how funny it is, because of how over the top Amy Adams plays it as being this innocent princess where everything is perfect and she falls in love with somebody she just met. It's very it's very Anna from God, how can I not remember the name? Frozen. Thank you. It's very Anna from Frozen, right? So it's just, fantastical. And that, the way that she like looks at the rats and the pigeons and the cockroaches, as you said, Pete, it's just hilarious. She treats them just like they're beautiful little woodland creatures, right? So, and James Marsden does such a wonderful job in this movie of just playing it so completely like Prince Charming, over the top to the point of ridiculousness, and I love that. I think he does such a good job when he's slaying the bus. It's just hilarious. It's a beautiful movie because it's funny, because it doesn't take itself seriously. It is, for, I would say, the target audience is definitely more of the younger crowd. I don't think this is as much a movie. I think this is, well, the making fun of itself part is more for the adults, but I think the movie is generally for a younger audience. I don't think it's like super sophisticated. And the humor is not super sophisticated. There's obviously some slapstick humor in there. But I really enjoy the music as well. I agree. I wish there was more of it. That's the only thing, because the music that is there is so good. I especially love the ensemble scenes where, like, how do we know, right? Like, with everyone in Central Park dancing and singing along when the guys on the steel drums start playing How Do We Know? It's just amazing. Just that's my favorite scene probably in the whole movie. Derek, what do you think?
Now you have to realize this is the first time I have ever seen this movie. I did not watch this when I was younger. That being said, I can't believe how no one has mentioned all the Easter eggs in this movie.
Yeah.
Just now I've got a deep one. You've got her holding the jewels up, and that's dopey. But right. I've got a deep one that most people don't notice. When they're flipping through the TV, you've got Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy on there from Fun and Fancy Free.
Oh.
When the Willie the Giant section.
Yeah.
And Eileen Woods and Mary Costa, the original Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella, are the two old ladies in the ball scene.
Oh, that's who that was.
Did you see my post on Instagram? There was actually
I was going to ask you, Pete, who were
7
they?
princesses.
No, I got a big issue with 7. I got a big issue with 7. Elsa is not a princess. She's the queen. She is officially not a Disney princess. Julie Andrews is not a Disney princess.
She was not one of them. I didn't list.
Okay. Nope. And okay, then who?
Paige O'Hara, or yeah. So
I've met her. Ariel, she's really nice.
Belle was there.
Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella. Pocahontas.
Pocahontas was there, and I didn't put a picture of it, but Amy Adams is. I'm sorry, a Disney well, I guess she's technically not a princess because she didn't marry a princess. But she should be a princess.
Also, and please someone correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure Amy Adams owns the rights to her character, and that is why you will not see Giselle in the parks.
And why there's no dolls. But so anyway,
interesting.
I actually have I've meant to bring it up with me. I have a Enchanted merchandise item that has Giselle on it.
Wow.
Except I forgot to bring it up. Maybe I'll bring it next week.
Yeah. But, so anyway, Susan Sarandon, can we say how great of a villain she was in this?
Yes.
Even though you only see her for a few minutes. She's what used to be called a scenery chewer. She just eats up the entire scene as she's going. I love the callback to Maleficent with the dragon and the green fire. There's the funny moments. My favorite line, when the dragon's on the building, Giselle goes, "You're crazy. I'm spiteful, vindictive, very large, but never crazy."
I'm going to remember that.
For the most part, I didn't mind the campiness. It was fun. James Marsden as Edward was great. He's been in cornier roles.
Oh,
corny. Hairspray.
Yeah.
Oh, Corny Collins.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good.
I did watch an interview where Patrick Dempsey said this was one of his hardest roles because he had to play it completely straight.
Right.
While everybody else could be super crazy.
Right. Everybody else could be over the top, and he was, as you said in the post, the straight man.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the hand animation, even though it was not done by Disney.
Ooh.
It had to be outsourced to James Baxter, who worked on Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, but he had started his own company by this point, and there were not enough people at Disney that could do the animation, so they had to outsource it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Fact.
I didn't know
The
that.
more you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Go ahead, Kate.
Well, so you can finish, and then I'll add in my two things.
No, go.
Well, so two things. One, I loved that the comparison between James Marsden and Patrick Dempsey. The way that they played that, the way that he was like, "Why are people singing?" Like that like, and James Marsden nailed that very aloof, mildly ridiculous Prince. Like that was character. Yeah, yes. that was so brilliant to me. That was something that stood out so much as a pro, as a great thing, was the balance there. And then my next one, I realize, is going to be answered in the next question.
Okay.
So.
And Sam, I'd go back. I take issue with you saying this is not a movie for adults.
No, I didn't mean that it's not one that adults would enjoy. I just mean, I feel like there are some movies where the audience is really, that they're aiming for is adults, but kids might like enjoy it because it's got animation. This one I felt like was one where the jokes were ones everyone would get. Obviously there were Easter eggs that the little kids wouldn't get, but the jokes weren't like super sophisticated that would go right past the younger audience.
Okay. Gina says Susan Sarandon was such a great villainess. The rats and cockroaches cleaning was hilarious. Ryan Goat says Patrick Dempsey being flabbergasted by Giselle, definitely what makes the movie. Loves it. Steve says it's a chipmunk, does the charade so well and no one gets it.
Totally.
Or I wouldn't say no one gets it. The prince doesn't get it. As Nick says, no curtains are safe. Gina says, the restaurant is Bella Notte.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? That's so fun.
And in The Office that has Jodie Benson. She's the secretary with the aquarium, and then the music in the background is an instrumental part of your world.
Well, so Paige O'Hara is on the TV in the soap opera, and the music is also Beauty and the Beast. If you listen carefully in that scene as well.
For anyone who's wondering, Paige O'Hara, I have met in person, and she is a lovely human. I have also heard that Jodie Benson is a lovely human.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Now, we've all said how we know if we loved it. What wasn't so magical about the movie? And Pete, we're going to start with you on this one.
Okay.
What wasn't so magical?
I generally like the movie a lot, but I have two things. One's a technical thing and one is a plot thing. The technical thing is overall effects are pretty good in the movie, but you get to that dragon effect at the end. And I mean, this is like 2007. How are we getting like mid-90s? Let's shoot it in the rain so they can't tell how terrible our special effects are. Dragons. I was like, it was distracting to me how bad that dragon was at the end. The other thing is kind of a more major one. Like, the whole thing is about, how can you just meet somebody and fall in love? And even to the point that she's like, I better go on a date with this prince to find out if I really like him. But somehow she falls in love with Patrick Dempsey, and we really get no feeling of that in the movie. Like he doesn't seem like until all of a sudden, like, it's convenient that they're in love. Like, we really don't, like, they go to the pizza place and now they're in love. I don't know. if it's parodying, if it's trying to parody it, I think that's where it lost the parody, and it kind of annoyed me at the end that like she should have been like, well, I think I like you, but I think we should date for a while or something like that. Not I'm in love with you now. I mean, I know they had to get to the true love's kiss at the end, but that was the biggest thing in the movie that just like kind of turned me off to the last third of it. Still enjoyed it a lot. There's still some very funny moments, but I thought that aspect of it didn't work for me. So what about you, Sam?
So
from your gesticulating, I think you're thinking the same thing.
I was so animated because you stole exactly what I was going to say. It's totally ridiculous that she falls in love with Patrick Dempsey in such a short period of time when they didn't show really any way of them falling in love with each other, except for the pizza date, right? So that is spot on. I mean, if you're trying to flip the script on a traditional princess story, a fairy tale, and you're trying to make it, I mean, they did it in one way in that they made Amy Adams, Giselle save Patrick Dempsey at the end with the sword by throwing the sword and obviously her trying to fight the dragon and whatnot. So they did flip the script in that one way, but they didn't do it in two ways. One is her falling in love with Patrick Dempsey. And the other thing is the kiss, okay? Like if you're going to flip the script, why do you have an unconscious woman needing to be kissed by a man who she supposedly apparently just fell in love with in like 2 days? So there's a couple of I don't think they needed the true love's kiss. I think they could have done it some other way. They shouldn't have done the story with the kiss part or somehow flipped it on its head.
Right. And that's one of the things, I mean, Frozen did it later, but that's one of the things that I loved about Frozen was, it's not about the true love's kiss. It's about the sisters, right?
It's about love between, love between sisters. This could have been, some other, it could have been about, true feelings or even life.
I don't know how they would have done it, but I agree. They needed to somehow flip that.
Right. They need to flip the whole true love's kiss idea in some other way, especially not with an unconscious woman who can't consent to be kissed by a prince. Okay?
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
Just like Sam, I 100 trillion% agree with you. But if we are looking at this from a satire parody of a fairy tale, I get why they did it that way.
Well, but it should have still played a role in the sense of like that she thought true love's kiss or was supposed to save her, but it should have been something else that saved her is what I'm saying. That would have been the way to flip the script on they would still have been parodying the true fairy tale like they did with the dragon, like they did with, I mean, there's a lot of stuff they parodied. I just think they could have taken it one step further and not made the whole kiss thing. And as Pete said, the falling in love in like the matter of a few days, right? So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Derek.
Oh boy.
So, got a couple issues with this. Running time on this is 1:45. Okay, there is a reason that most of the Disney princess movies were under an hour and a half. There is 15 minutes you could have cut from this.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, totally.
I'll agree.
It was long. It was, the word that came to mind was slow. The idea behind
we watched slower.
Wait, are you the sloth?
I know. It's been worse.
I know we've watched slower. Trust me, I know. But this was, and speaking of that, we'll get to Moon Knight in a little bit. But if the idea behind this was to spoof all the old Disney movies, if that's the case, it didn't go far enough.
I agree.
It did not go far enough. Good spoofs, let the audience in on the joke. Think Shrek, think Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
They let the audience in on the joke, and then they take that line and they step way over it.
That's a good point.
Okay, Sam, I'm going to go with Kate. If they have to have the true love's kiss, if you're truly going to parody it, you have a line of guys standing there trying to figure out which of them is the true love's kiss.
I mean, that would have been a way to do it.
And
I don't like the consent part there, but that would have been a funny way.
Gets in on it. I mean,
that was what I was gonna say. Is it's the chipmunk?
Or have Patrick Dempsey eat the apple.
Okay, and if it's, I mean, they hit on all the tropes, and one that's not really mentioned in Dina Menzel, the soon-to-be stepmother. Her last name's Tremaine, which is the stepmother's name in Cinderella.
Oh, I did not catch that.
And while we're on the topic of her, why doesn't she sing?
Don't you take mine? Don't you take mine?
Now.
Don't you take it?
Okay. Now, then I'll wait, and you can talk about it a little bit, but I've got a fact I'm guessing you probably don't know about that.
Probably. You're probably right.
But I will say the songs have a way of absolutely burning themselves into your brain. And to me, that's the genius of Alan Menken.
Yeah.
Because it's the melodies. It's not the words. Which the words were actually by the same guy who did Wicked with Idina Menzel. Stephen Schwartz. So, but yeah, Idina Menzel's just coming off of Rent, just coming off of Wicked, and she's the one that doesn't sing. Anyway, sorry, Kate. But so I had some issues with it. Biggest one, as I said, was didn't go far enough, and it was slow. Kate?
Yeah. So you just took my whole negative, but that's fine because we steal each other's negatives and positives all the time. My biggest negative. Listen, again, this is a parody. I agree 100% with Derek. I think, as you said it, that it didn't go far enough. Maybe not on the kiss part, but to let you in on the joke and all that stuff. But you have Idina Menzel, who, especially at this point in her career, was like it on Broadway. At this point, she had been in the original cast of The Wild Party, Wicked, and Rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she was belt her face off for days. Now, it's a little bit harder. She's gotten a little older. Like, I get it. That it's not easy, but... And they didn't have her sing. That is my biggest, like, you're gonna make a pseudo movie musical, have an icon from Broadway, and not have her sing.
Now, I will say this was her first movie, but it's also a case of she and James Marsden actually did have a recorded song that was originally supposed to basically be the finale song that was going to go over the top of all of their happily ever afters, and it got cut.
That's terrible.
As Steve says, it was planned for Idina to sing, decided to not fit her character, living in the real world and not the cartoon fantasy world. To me, at the end, she goes to the fantasy world.
Right.
So it works.
Agreed. I think when she went to the fantasy world, that's when they could have had her. They could have had her sing as a cartoon character.
And Steve says the plan is to have her sing in the next movie, which I will say all of the main cast is back. The big four are all back for the next movie, which is fantastic. Which I think I saw has actually finished shooting and is coming out sometime this fall.
It's I believe going directly to Disney Plus.
It is direct to Disney Plus, so that will definitely be one that we hit at when it comes out.
Yep. That's the only negative I have, really.
Gina thought it was too long. Nick says he doesn't think the prince would have called his mom by her first name. Agreed.
It was his stepmom. It was his stepmom, not his mom.
It was his stepmom. Yeah.
So he would call her by her first name. Sorry, Nick, you're wrong.
Maybe. So.
I call my stepmom by her first name. So
exactly, most people call their step parents by their first name.
So we have James Marsden as Prince Edward. We have Patrick Dempsey as the lawyer. And for the ladies, which one would be more like your prince? And guys, which one would you like to be more like? So, Sam, your turn to get started.
Okay, well, Patrick Dempsey's a divorce lawyer, so he's too cynical for me. I love James Marsden in this movie. I think the prince is, I don't know that I'd really want to be married to either of them, to be perfectly honest, but I just adore James Marsden. I think he is adorable. I think he's hilarious. I think the way he played this role was just spot on. And so because of that, I have to pick the prince. Derek, who are you like?
I will say I have a hard time not feeling sorry for Edward. He did nothing wrong. From his point of view, that was exactly what she wanted. That's exactly what he was supposed to do. He did nothing wrong, but he loses his dream girl. It reminds me of the Bill Pullman character in Sleepless in Seattle, who is the original fiance, who does nothing wrong.
Okay, hang on. I have to stop you right now. Do you understand that you just quoted my favorite movie of all time? We'll
work on that as we go.
Walter. His name was Walter in the movie, everyone.
Okay. But anyway, he doesn't do anything wrong. He loves her. He's everything she's wanted. And he loses her.
He doesn't actually really love her, though. Remember in the scene where they have the dinner?
He does. Yes, he does. But he realizes he loves her enough to let her go.
I don't think so. I think they both realize they don't really love each other.
Let's not go too far into a different movie, though.
But he didn't do anything wrong. I agree with you.
Again, for me to be Edward, the total devotion he has, I have a hard time going against. Kate?
Well, now you got me thinking about Sleepless in Seattle. So
When Harry Met Sally is a better movie. So anyway.
Listen, there are very few hills that I will die on. And if I've been Sleepless I will write a dissertation on why Sleepless in Seattle is the greatest movie of all time. Anyway, Walter. Okay. What was the question?
Look at the bottom.
James Marsden or McDreamy?
So I want to be really cheeky and be like, neither. I want the chipmunk. But
that would be cheeky.
I'm goofy. I'm super goofy. And so James Marsden but okay, now to be fair, I have trouble seeing Patrick Dempsey as anything other than McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy. And he was not one of my favorite characters on Grey's Anatomy. So I would have to go.
You need to see him in Can't Buy Me Love from back in the 80s. Now that's a movie he was wonderful in. Yeah.
Hey, Sam, you know what movie you should also watch that was made in 1994 starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan?
You've Got Mail?
Sleepless in Seattle. No, You've Got Mail was 1998. Thank you. That is my second favorite movie of all time.
I do love both of those movies.
Oh, they're so good. I could talk for hours. Anyway, you can ask Ryan. Ryan will tell you I can talk for hours about this. Yeah, I'm gonna go James Marsden.
Pete, is it 4 for 4?
Now I feel bad for poor Patrick Dempsey that he's been left out in the cold. I'm probably in the real world, I'm probably more of a Patrick Dempsey. So, and I think if I had his looks, and my wife prefers Patrick Dempsey. So I guess I'm going to go with, I would be the Patrick Dempsey.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, if that's what the wife prefers, I get it.
Yeah.
And Gina says in 2007, it would have been Patrick Dempsey. So I can see that.
See, in James Marsden, I just see Cyclops.
Oh, and see James Marsden for me, I see Corny Collins all the way.
What about what is that? 27 Dresses? He's like so dreamy in that movie.
Can I recommend Tom Hanks from a movie from 1994, Sleepless in Seattle?
You can always recommend Tom Hanks.
Okay, she can recommend everything, but she can also go away. No. So, okay, as we always do, Pixie Dust ratings out of 5. Kate, you are up.
I'll give it a 3.5. It's good. It's fine.
Oh, you stole mine. Yeah, 3.5. Worth watching, not in the regular rotation or anything, but it's probably been 10 years since I saw it, and I did have a good time with it. So 3.5.
Yeah, that's so funny. I'm exactly with both of you at 3.5. I feel like this is a real fun movie to watch, but it's not one that I find myself going back to watch over and over and over again. And so that's why I can't give it a 4, because I feel like something that's a 4 is something that it's like a go-to. I want to rewatch it, even if it's not my absolute favorite at a 5.
Oh, Sam, would you like to know what I would go back and rewatch over and over and over and over? That I would absolutely give a 5 to?
Drop it down again.
Seattle.
Got Mail.
Yeah.
1994, Tom Hanks, Meg.
I will rewatch You've Got Mail over and over and over again more than Sleepless in Seattle. I'm just going to put it there. I hope that's not fighting words.
Oh, dear Lord. I'm glad these aren't Disney movies.
Back to the show. For me, it's a 3.5. I think we're straight 3.5 across the board.
Has that ever happened before?
Never. We've never all had the same.
Toy Story got straight 5s, but other than that,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's straight 3.5s across the board. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again. It's cute, but again, it's not going in the regular rotation.
I will say this, even at the time when it came out, I wouldn't say this about a lot of princess movies. The idea of a sequel to it is not a bad idea. Like to me, finding out what happens to these characters down the road and the fact that it's called Disenchanted, to me, it makes for what could be an interesting movie. Maybe not, but we'll see.
Okay. And from what I've seen, like they have to go back to Andalasia at some point to take care of something there is kind of the plot behind it. So Nick says 3.5, Steve's at 3, Ryan's at 4. So overall, fairly well-liked movie.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing we watched this week was Moon Knight. We are now halfway through the series. We are at 3 out of 6 episodes.
Is it really only 6 episodes?
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was only 6.
Yes, it's
That's
only
crazy.
6. So now that we are at the halfway mark, what are your thoughts?
Me?
Ew.
Me?
I thought you said ew.
Ew. Ew.
Ew.
I'm sorry, I'm really enjoying this series. I love that each episode has felt a little different. Again, I've said this every time we've watched an episode. We're getting a very linear story, which we haven't gotten from Marvel. There's always been this like denseness when all these subplots and everything like that. And this show is fairly straightforward. I liked that this episode had, it wasn't exactly the same as the other ones. We're starting to see more of Mark. We went and saw we saw the gods and everything like that. We kind of got to the end and there was a little bit of a twist with Khonshu. I won't go into exactly what that was, even though we're a spoiler podcast, but I'm really enjoying the series. Every episode I'm enjoying. I love the way it's shot. And I think the plot is very tight and it doesn't feel overly Marvel-y it's still Marvel-y, but it's Marvel. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this series. And I feel like the other thing I'll say, one more thing, every other Marvel series pretty much there's been an episode that has felt like a filler episode. Like, okay, why does this? Okay, and I can see what you're saying. This one was. I didn't feel that way with this episode. I thought it still moved. I thought this one moved the plot forward more than the last two. So I think that I'm really enjoying the series. Sam, what about you?
Were we watching the same show? Especially when you said it was straightforward? Like,
nope.
I don't understand how anyone could think this show is straightforward.
Where's my confused Kate sign when I need it?
Seriously. I messaged the other tuners about this as I was watching this last night. I watched all 3 episodes because I have been behind. I wanted to watch them all when I was feeling better so that I could actually pay attention. Because, with Marvel, sometimes things are complex, and this did not disappoint in that regard. This is the most confusing Marvel show to me thus far. And that may sound very strange because I know a lot of people were confused by Loki, namely confused Kate right next to me. But honestly, this is my least enjoyed Marvel show to date. I am not really getting, I read episode recaps in order to understand what actually happened and what was going on with Steven/Mark. I understood that he had multiple personalities, but did not really get what was going on too well by just watching the show. So to be perfectly honest, I don't like it. We're 3 episodes in. I haven't enjoyed any of the 3 episodes. And I don't really understand what direction the MCU is going in based on the Eternals and this show. It's really disappointing to me, to be perfectly honest, because neither of these shows, or neither the movie The Eternals nor this show, has really sucked me in. I'm just waiting to get back to Doctor Strange and some other folks, as I finally did see the third, the most recent Spider-Man, which, yeah. But anyway, I won't give my opinion on that since we haven't watched that as a platoon yet. But yeah, I need to get back to some Avengers and away from these new gods and goddesses and avatars. So and I also am missing, why are we talking about avatars? They're not the blue people. So I want to go back to Pandora.
He even said that in the first episode.
He did say the first episode, and that was a funny line. But I would like to go back to Avatar and back to Pandora. What about you, Kate? You're muted.
I'm not used to being on the bottom level, but Derek has dropped me down enough times because I've talked about my favorite movie of all time, circa 1994, that I won't talk about anymore. But so Sam, out of curiosity, did you, and I know you've had the coves and you were on the cruises, but you didn't listen to the last 2 episodes of Plus Platoon, correct?
I have not had the chance to. Derek
that's
did
fine.
Tell me I will probably understand a little bit better after I watch the discussion.
Yeah.
But I did, like I said, it was able to read a couple of articles, of recap articles, and that helped me understand better. Yeah.
Totally. So I didn't either, because I wasn't on 2 nights ago or 2 weeks ago.
You weren't on for the first episode.
I wasn't on for the first one. And I was rather confused, Kate, a little bit. And if I had not heard what they told me last week, I mean, days have no meaning anymore. Last week, I would have been unbelievably confused, Kate, watching this episode. So, I don't know how many spoilers. I know we're spoiler filled. I don't know how many spoilers we want to give.
Go for it.
No, go ahead.
Go for it.
So one of the things, Sam, that was explained to me last week, and boys, please help me if I say this wrong, is that he obviously, and I'm going to say the wrong word, has multiple personalities. This is a multiple person, but there's at least 3 personalities. We have only
we haven't met
2
the
of
third
them.
one. We've met Mark and we've met Steven, but there's a third one because we know that from this episode, we know that neither of them committed some of the killings that have just happened.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
and we know Khonshu's in there, but he's not a personality. He's the
I will say, because of what you 2 above and Micah said last week, I am not as confused, Kate, as I was for Loki. The wibbly wobbly timey wimey, I just messed with my head big time. I am enjoying this weirdly. I don't know why, because it's not as funny as I usually like. It does have a little humor, but it's not as funny as I usually like. And it's dealing with a pretty heavy mental health diagnosis that is scary to me. That's very that isn't how I meant to say that. Sam, help me out here. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
We know what you meant.
And it's something it's really hard to understand.
Yeah. Hard to understand. Thank you. But I am weirdly enjoying it. But I think I'm only enjoying it because when in this last episode, when they were like, why did you do that? I didn't do that. I was like, I know this answer because it's not either of you. I think that's partly why I'm enjoying it, is because I actually understood this episode a little bit.
I do have to say Micah was a big help.
Huge.
Talking to him both on the air and off the air. Yeah.
He should be back next week. He was busy this week. He should be back next week. So
cool. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and he's like a wealth of knowledge. But overall, I don't hate it. It's not making me want to scratch my face off like Loki did. So, Derek, what about you?
Yeah.
I think Derek didn't like this episode.
You guys all know how much I love a chase action scene that starts an episode and is in the middle and is at the end. This is the first episode that I have found myself thinking, is this over yet?
The first one?
Yes, the first one. The first two I like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This one, it's one of those, is this over yet? Several observations I've made. First, we have our daddy issues for the series because because Layla has not come to terms with her father's murder yet.
Right.
So there's that. She is an interesting character in this episode. She's got that necklace that has its tie back to Khonshu. It looks like it's something that Khonshu would have given. So there's that. You can also see that they're at least trying to make it seem like Layla's starting to fall for Steven as she grows a little bit further away from Mark. Yeah, the look on her face.
Jerk like Mark is.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And Steven and she have so much in common in their interests, you know.
The other one I want to talk about is the love goddess Hathor. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The first goddess that encountered him before all the others, and then she's also the one that brought the bad guy in to see the Khonshu statue.
Mm-hmm.
She's actually been mentioned in Captain America: Civil War, and is already in Black Panther under the name Sekhmet. It's the same person. Why do
you know that?
Because I'm good. But it's the same goddess, and in the comics, the goddess then becomes a killer and is an enemy to Wakanda and the Black Panther. She may be one of the next villains coming at us.
It's hard to say. I mean, they talked about that this was like separate, but I also was wondering.
I don't buy it.
I was wondering because this is obviously not the first time we've seen gods, right? I mean, with Thor and all the Asgardians are all gods as well. But what we're having in Thor: Love and Thunder, which is coming, is the bad guy in Love and Thunder hates all gods and wants to kill all the gods, which seems really strange that they would bring the Egyptian gods in right before that movie. So I wonder if we're going to see some of these characters in Love and Thunder.
I also think that there's the talk that Layla don't let her be. Yeah, we're really
it's okay. It's okay. Keep going, Derek.
Let me finish. So I don't think, because there's talk about Mark saying don't let Khonshu take Layla as her next avatar.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hathor may be the next one to take Layla, because then if you've got Khonshu and Hathor, you've got those two in the talking with Micah, as I have it. I've talked with Micah off screen. They work together some in the comics. So that would be a good way to connect things. But guys, at this point, I just want it to be over.
I don't
Hang on. Can we back up a second?
Yeah, sure.
Pete, can you repeat what you said about it's not connected? What did you mean by that?
Well, they've supposedly said that this is not, there's not going to be connections to the greater MCU for this series, that it's basically
more standalone.
That's crap.
Just because they're saying it doesn't necessarily mean it's true, but that's right. I mean, you must admit so far there's been almost nothing referring back. I mean, what Derek just mentioned, but that's pretty small.
But I don't feel like Marvel ever does. And again,
no, I agree with you.
This is I think reason they said that is because this is a quote, almost more like an origin story is kind of how they're treating this more.
And somebody said that in the.
Yeah, Gina says she needs an origin story, maybe.
Well, I think she's talking about she wants to know how Mark ended up with Khonshu.
Okay,
right.
That's fair.
I think we're gonna get more of that at some point, because we know he said he was like a corpse or so we know he was either actually dead or on death's door when Khonshu made whatever deal he made with him to be his avatar.
And I've seen that some people think that Mark is now dead again now that Khonshu has left him. He's not, because Khonshu told Steven to make sure Mark gets me back. So yes, he's down there, but he's not dead.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, there is supposedly a huge reveal and cliffhanger in episode 4. The director likened it to bringing in Excalibur to the Arthurian legend. The exact quote was, "It was such a gift that we got to do that, and they were jealous of themselves when they find out." I get kind of nervous about those statements because it can either be good or it can be really, really, really bad.
Well, or is it only going to resonate with people like Micah who are comic book aficionados? Is it going to go totally over my head?
I'm hearing from some rumors it will not just be. I'm just saying from some rumors I'm hearing, it will not just be able to be caught by the nerdier comic, by the nerdier people. It is something that will be caught by everybody. So, Ryan has said he really enjoys the series, agrees with Pete. Been a lot of fun. In this episode, I agree, felt like it moved the plot farther forward. Steve says he loves that they're still peeling the onion back. So we will see. Episode 4 comes out tomorrow. Then we will have 2 more episodes of this, and this series will be done. Whether we see the characters in the future, who knows?
Yeah, recently they've indicated that this is a one-off. Now, of course, it certainly depends on how popular it is, but I just recently saw a thing where they were saying, well, I shouldn't say that. The way because they consider when they submit things for awards, it's either as it's a series or it's a, what do they call it? Limited series. And so Hawkeye was treated as a limited series, and this is as well.
Yeah, which means
WandaVision was also a limited series. Right.
But the characters may show up again.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to see. I would prefer to see Poe flying an X-wing.
Knew you were going to say that. I knew.
I just really prefer that over this. Sorry, Mark and Steven.
To be fair, and I said this last week, and I'll say it again because I thought it again this week. His ability to go from one accent to another accent, one personality to another personality is...
Neither of which are his native accent.
What is his native accent?
So he's originally
from South America.
Guatemalan, right?
Or Venezuelan or something like that. Yeah, he's from South America.
No, he's a brilliant actor.
He was born in Guatemala, and then I think he moved to Spain or something like that.
But yeah, British and American, neither one of those is his native accent.
Is his native
accent. He does a wonderful job, but I still prefer him as Poe.
Agreed. But I will say that his acting in taking 2 very different characters and portraying them back to back to back to back. And I know that's not how it's filmed. I know, but it's just, he's very, very good at it.
Yeah, those mirror scenes or the reflection scenes, they're very, very well done from the standpoint of his acting and also the effects of how they're actually doing it. And it's very well done.
So be interesting to see what we got next week from this series. Our main feature for next series this coming Friday, is Earth Day, and Disney is releasing Disney Nature's Polar Bear. It's in the vein of all the old True Life Adventure movies. They've got Disney's Whales. They've got all of these different movies, and
we're watching Polar Bear Moon Knight. That's going to be an interesting show.
Polar Bear Moon Knight. It might spice things up. So,
I might like that better, Polar Bear Moon Knight.
So watching Polar Bear, and we will also be talking about Moon Knight episode 4. Guys, if you are not already, please like, subscribe, share, give us those 5-star ratings so more people know about us. There's going to be some times, especially coming up in May and June, where we're going to need some stuff to watch. So please email us at plusplatoon@gmail.com. We listen to all the suggestions. We've got a couple on there, but we've done most of the ones we've been sent. So
I have a show that we can watch, a movie that we can watch, but it's not on Disney Plus.
You're right. It's not on Disney Plus.
1994, starring Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Sandlot?
Sandlot.
Also a great movie.
No, if we're going 1984, we're watching Ghostbusters. So
who are you going to call?
Also not on Disney Plus.
I'm afraid to know Ghost.
So Anyway, guys, thank you for listening with us. We will be back next week, and we will say goodnight, everyone. So bye, guys.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good job in your work.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcast and leave those 5-star reviews as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.